Hello, friends and family, and welcome back. Come ahead, sit down. And welcome back to another episode of A Chapter at a Time, y'all. The very first episode of 2026. I am so hyped. So for those of y'all who don't know me yet, my name is Cora, and the way that this works is I will be introducing one new book a month to you guys, followed by a mid-book check-in, and then I'll be dropping a final book check-in review. However, you do not have to have the book read that fast, y'all. That is not the point of this book club. The point is to enjoy the worlds that you're reading about, to read slowly and intentionally. And then at the end, very end of the month, to tie the series together, I will be dropping a special performance written and performed by yours truly. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Today is our mid-book review of Lessons in Chemistry, written by Bonnie Garmus. Y'all, I cannot wait to get into this. Let's just go ahead and jump into it, guys, okay? And again, Happy New Year! Woo! So again, for those of you who are new here, the way that the mid-book check-in works is this very first part is going to be a non-spoiler part of how I feel about the book, and then I will tell you when to stop, hit pause, and come back, because the last part of the video, we are going to get into the spoilers, and I do not want to spoil the book for you guys. So just make sure that you're paying attention to when I say stop, pause, and come back, okay? So jumping right into the non-spoiler thoughts that I had, general vibes and premises of the book. At its core, Lessons in Chemistry is about this woman, Elizabeth Zott, who refuses to make herself smaller in a world that insists that she does. This book blends science, feminism, love, anger, all of the emotions in a way that is sharp but yet surprisingly very tender. The writing style and tone of this book, the writing is very direct, very witty. Bonnie Garmus does not waste words. This book has a lot of dry humor. She also does a really good job of making me pause at moments. I have to reread it and then laugh because it's very dry but witty humor. I like that this book challenges me and it makes me think. I am actually learning a lot from this book. And getting into Elizabeth Zott, a little bit more about her character. No spoilers, I promise. Elizabeth Zott is not an easy character, but in a good way. That's not a bad way at all. I mean that in the highest compliment. I actually look up to Elizabeth Zott. I look up to how brilliant she is, how stern. She does not back down from how she feels. Even, like I said, even in a world that is trying to break her, Elizabeth Zott is a strong woman, okay? She deals with a lot in this book and she handles it with grace. Does she have her moments? Yes, she does. She's still human. But altogether, Elizabeth Zott is a woman of excellence, honestly. I really enjoy Elizabeth Zott. I love how direct she is. She is a no-nonsense type of woman, and I love that. Especially, again, where she works in a world that does not take her seriously. So I almost got into the spoilers. I had to catch myself. I get so passionate. But we're going to move on now before I say too much. So how it's making me feel so far. This book is making me feel frustrated, y'all. I can't lie. There was one part in this book where I promise you I almost put the book down and did not pick it back up. But I'm glad that I did. Because I go through sadness, reading about everything that Elizabeth has to go through, anger, like I said, frustration, but yet comforted. There's a warmth to this book in the midst of everything that's going on. Bonnie Garmus does a really good job of bringing the warmth back and the love between Elizabeth and the community that she does have. So who I'd recommend this book to, if you like strong yet complicated female leads, this is the book for you. Stories about women navigating unfair systems, books that you might think, books that make you think, but still a very cozy vibe. This is definitely that book, y'all. This is the kind of book for me. When I think about lessons in chemistry, I want to curl up on my couch in my fuzzy blanket, in my fuzzy socks, with a cup of hot chocolate, and just dig deep into this book. As frustrating as this book can make me feel sometimes, it is also, like I said, just a very warm and inspiring book. So if those are the things that you're interested in, pick up the book, read it intentionally, take your time, and enjoy, okay? So now this is your spoiler warning. This is the part of the episode where you can pause, save. Don't forget to subscribe also before you head out, and come back to me whenever you are ready. I'll be here. All right? Okay, so now we're at the part of the video that is absolutely my favorite, the spoilers. And you know I'm gonna start with Elizabeth because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with her, and I'm obsessed with 630. I mean, who wouldn't love a dog with so many emotions and so many thoughts? But going back to Elizabeth, that woman is so rigid, and her worldview to me is very intriguing. She is a logical thinker, very factual, cause and effect oriented, and if it can't be explained scientifically, it's not a thing to Elizabeth. And to me, that is one of her strengths, especially when she's going up against people like Mr. Donati and the men that she works with that are constantly questioning her intelligence. But it also leaves her very isolated. We all know those know-it-alls, you know, and it can be very frustrating. Nobody likes to feel dumb, and she unfortunately unintentionally has a way of making everybody feel dumb. I'm not gonna lie, I had to Google so much in this book. I wanted to Google a lot of the formulas that she talked about in this book. However, I'm not mad at it. I learned a lot. And I'm thankful for that. But like I said, it can be very frustrating dealing with the know-it-all. So to me, that is one of her weaknesses that she needs to work on. Because she's the same at work, at home. She's going to be very straightforward. Like I said, if it can't be explained scientifically, why are you even talking to her? So she kind of needs to learn how to balance that. And I'm not saying that she needs to dumb herself down for people, but it wouldn't hurt for her to learn how to code switch just a little bit, if you know what I mean. Unfortunately, Elizabeth deals with a lot of grief, a lot of loss, and emotional restraint. The emotions in this book, they're not loud at all. They actually kind of simmer along the surface. I found myself noticing how Elizabeth processes things intellectually instead of emotionally. It's kind of like she's in survival mode. One of the examples is how she irks after Calvin died. Y'all, when Calvin died, that is the part of the book that I almost threw that book and did not want to pick it up. But I am glad that I kept reading because Calvin's death actually pushes a lot of things in motion for this book. And I think it also pushes Elizabeth to grow and to get out of her comfort zone. However, getting back to the point, she does not deal with those emotions after Calvin dies. Instead, she irks and irks and irks and irks herself till she can't irk anymore, to the point where people are concerned about her. She just, like I said, she just doesn't deal with her emotions. I think because of the world that she's used to, having to always defend herself, put on a strong face, especially in academic and in work environments. I think it's kind of numbed her to things, and she feels like she has to keep pressing forward. She has to find a way to press forward, even though that's not the case. So the next thing I want to talk about is the gender and power dynamics. The way this book portrays sexism, y'all, especially in the academic and professional settings, it's infuriating. It is absolutely infuriating, but yet unfortunately still very realistic to this day. What hit me the hardest though is how Elizabeth's intelligence is always being threatened and always questioned. Mr. Donati is on the top of my SHIT list, okay? I cannot stand Mr. Donati and all those other men. And also Frask. As the other woman working at Hastings, they should be having each other's back. Frask should be helping Elizabeth, should be defending Elizabeth, not jealous, not intimidated because Elizabeth is an actual scientist. The woman is literally belittling another woman and downplaying how intelligent Elizabeth really is, saying that she only got her role because she's with Calvin, yada yada yada. Elizabeth goes through so much, and yet she keeps going and keeps fighting for herself. That's one of the reasons why I really respect Elizabeth. And she's still a good spirit. You know, all that crap that she goes through could make her a better woman. And yet she is so gentle, so warm. And the way that she loves Madison, y'all, she loves that girl down, and she loves 630 down, y'all. Elizabeth is all around just a good woman, and it really breaks my heart to read about the things that she goes through. So now I want to talk about motherhood and identity. Bonnie Garmus, thank you so much for showing the more realistic side of motherhood and not just romanticizing it. I feel like whenever motherhood is portrayed in books or movies, most of the time everything is sweet, but that's not the case most of the time. Raising kids is hard. There's a lot of sacrifice that goes into it. You gotta share your food. You don't get to sleep as much as you want, and you know, honestly, I used to say I can't wait to have kids, but that's not the case. I can wait. I can wait to lose sleep. I can't wait to have to share every meal. I'm not ready, and I am perfectly okay with that. Reading this book also reinforced that for me, just saying. But I also do look up to Elizabeth because even though she goes through so much, that's a superwoman. That is a super mom right there. The love and the detail that she puts into taking care of Madison. The girl gets home cooked lunches measured to the T every day with notes inside of them, empowering notes inside of them. That woman uplifts her child, reads to her, does everything in her power to make sure that Madison is a superior human being. And she also eventually that's also when she eventually decides to let Harriet in, when she struggles taking care of Madison after Calvin dies. So again, I appreciate seeing the struggles of motherhood because it ain't easy, okay? And I think romanticizing motherhood can be kind of dangerous when you get to talking about people who say they want kids but aren't necessarily ready. Me. So let me ask you guys this. Where are you emotionally right now in this book? How do you feel about Elizabeth? Are we rocking with her? Are you annoyed with her? Let me know how you feel. I don't know about you guys, but at this point I'm invested. Like I said, Calvin's death shook me. I'm gonna be really honest with you, but I really think that was the push that Elizabeth needed to get out of her shell, to soften up a little bit. They say people are brought into your life for a reason, and I do believe this to be true. I think if she had never met Calvin, she would have never agreed to do the show. And not only do the show, but she's killing it. Does she have some hurdles? Absolutely. However, the women watching her TV show are empowered. I am empowered, y'all. When I tell y'all, I'm in my kitchen now trying to figure out the exact measurements of things, because when I read this book and she said, you know, she talks about if you treat cooking like science and you have the correct formula, it's gonna come out perfect every time. Y'all, I know me, when I started learning how to cook, I know my people were like, oh yeah, we don't measure anything. You go into the ancestors, tell you when to stop.
Oh, Lord.
Sometimes that's cool, but sometimes you'll taste that food and be like, oh, I don't know what I did this time. So Elizabeth is on to something when it comes to food being science. And it is, especially if you're looking at changing up how you eat, if you want to eat healthier. Learning about the things that you're eating, the chemistry behind it, and I could just be in her chemistry, is one of my favorite school subjects. Shout out to you, Miss Lehman, if you're watching. Whoop, whoop. But it's interesting to me to know that if you have the exact measurements of something, it's gonna come out perfect every single time, y'all. That is beautiful to me. I love it. So this book, it's changing my life, honestly. Bonnie Garmus, thank you. So if you're reading along, again, let me know what you think. How do you feel about the characters in the book? Who's your favorite? Who's your least favorite? I know for me, it's between Mr. Donati and Frask. Actually, Frask might be at the top only because I expect that kind of behavior from a man. But woman to woman, we need to uplift each other. So Frask, you're at the top of my list. Do you admire Elizabeth? Do you struggle with her or both? Let me know. Leave a comment. Let's talk about it. Let me know all of your thoughts and feelings. You could be on page 2. I don't care. Let me know how you feel about those 2 pages. And just remember, this is a safe space. No matter what your opinion is, cool. I might not agree with it, however, I respect it. You could tell me you absolutely hate the book, and I'll be like, you know what, that is your prerogative. If you have book recommendations, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, y'all. 2026 is going to be a good year for us. I am so excited about the books to come. So stay tuned. Again, subscribe, y'all. And I'll see you next time on another episode of A Chapter at a Time. Y'all just wait. I'm going to make my own theme song.